Hey, Sprawl Racer here. This is going to be a slightly different type of video here. This is a video I've wrote a script for like 3 or 4 times and have scrapped. And I'm not quite sure exactly how this is going to go, but we're doing it live. No script required. I'm just going to kind of stream a thought this. But if you don't know me, I enjoy doing setups. It's one of the things I enjoy doing most on iRacing is spending time practicing, working on a setup, learning the car, adapting my driving style to the car, as well as adapting the car to my driving style. I'm a big believer that open racing on iRacing is the best environment to be in. People are going to practice more. People are going to have cars adjusted for themselves. There are dummies who are just going to buy a setup, put it in, not know what they're getting, and hope they get lucky, which is essentially what you're doing in a fixed setup, but everybody has the same thing. But yeah, with that rant out of the way though, I think setups on iRacing feel very intimidating, and I'm gonna try to hopefully help some people out with that. It's not as bad as you might think, and you only have to get as complicated as you want to get. So one of the things though is I grew up go-karting, and weight distribution is kind of really everything there. We don't have springs or shocks, so it's all about where the weight is, and nose weight, cross weight, left side weight, especially on a dirt oval kart. So we're going to kind of delve into what you should be looking for as far as weight distribution goes. Now, this is when the car is static, when it's in the garage. It helps to kind of have a baseline. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna open the garage. We actually have the late model stock here. Jeff and Liam ran, or Leroy, sorry, ran some late model stock open, and it really kind of made me think like, I really need to do this. But what I'm gonna show you here affects all cars in iRacing. Dirt, road, dirt oval, oval, like I'm doing this live. I'm going to mess this up. But yeah, no, all cars on iRacing are going to be affected by this to some level. So yeah, I got some music playing in the background just to kind of help clear my mind so I don't just hear my voice. Not quite sure if that's going to come through on the video. But yeah, now let's jump into the garage here. This is my single monitor setup. This is what I use when I do my pictures, so there's no controls or anything set up. But tires are going to translate a lot of information to you. It's best to kind of check heat, wear, build up and everything. But for the point of really the core of building your setup is you want to have your basic spring package ride heights. But what you're chasing when you do that is your weight. So most cars in iRacing are going to have a couple different weights. So you're going to have your nose weight, your cross weight, and your left side weight. Cars like the sprint car is going to have the left side weight. It's more common in oval and dirt stuff. Nose weight's going to be on everything from sports cars, prototypes, IndyCar, late model, and cross weight is primarily focused on you're going to find a primary focus on that in oval, but it does actually affect some road stuff, and I'll give you some examples a little bit later on. Now, going through let's start left. Well, actually, we'll save left side weight for last. It's the most common. We'll start with nose weight. Nose weight is just how much weight is on the nose of the car. So this late model stock car, in fact, let's pull up the official setup. No, let's pull up, where are we? Myrtle Beach. All right. So nose weight is 48.5%, meaning 51.5% is going to be on the rear of the car. That's if you put the car on scales, all 4 corners. So we have each corner weight 705, 801, 940, 657. 48% of that weight is on the nose. In iRacing, the higher rear weight or the lower nose weight is typically the looser the car. And essentially what's happening is as you're going into that corner and you turn left, that weight is like a pendulum. So if you have more weight on the rear, that pendulum wants to swing harder. It just wants to carry that momentum. So like in this situation here, having 48% nose weight is gonna mean it's a looser car because you have more weight in the rear. Now, every car is unique, and every driver is unique. You kind of tend to find what you like. Just for an example, Rallycross for Daytona to start the season, I put all of the ballast forward. So your main adjustment, you're going to have ride height adjustments, so you could kind of raise and lower the front and rear of the car. That's going to move some weight around. But you also have your ballast. So like the Rallycross car or this late model stock, you can move your weight forward. So we're ballast forward 4 inches. So if I move that, let's just say 30 inches and apply, we're at 52% nose weight. Now, the ride height's too low in the front because we put too much weight on the front springs. We would have to either adjust the perch or put stiffer springs in to get it back to the right ride height. And we also affected cross weight. But let's go back to 4. Let's put it back to what's standard. So yeah, your nose weight is going to affect how tight or loose the car is. The more rear weight, the looser the car is. Now, you have cross weight. Cross weight is one of the most important adjustments on a stock car, on an oval, or any oval car. Cross weight, 99% of the time, is going to be the weight measured from the left rear to the right front. So essentially 940 plus 801 is going to be greater than 705 plus 657, which is why we have a really high cross weight. Anything above 50% is making the car tighter. Anything below 50% is making the car looser. And it took me a long time. Like, I always understood that, but why? And the way you think about it, positive, or when I say positive, I mean anything above 50%, negative, anything below 50%. 50% is balanced. You have a good cross across the car. But positive cross weight is weight that's pointing away from the corner. So you think you're going down the straightaway, you're turning the wheel left, the car goes to the left. That weight, the higher cross weight, is pointing away from the corner. So imagine if you are going into the corner, do you want to turn the weight that's pointing away, where momentum is trying to go away from the corner, or momentum that's going into the corner? So again, like nose weight, we have 56% cross weight, so 56% of the weight is going from left rear to right front. 56% of the weight is pointing away from the corner, meaning 43% of it, or 44% of it, sorry, is pointing into the corner. So what I would recommend any car you drive is play around with nose and cross weight. Everybody likes something different. No two drivers are the same. No two setups are the same. And it's not a one size fits all. Personally, I really like something that's around 49% cross weight. It could be mental. It could be my driving style. It just, when I used to race go-karts, anywhere from 49 to 50% cross weight was the sweet spot. You wanted the car to rotate, but not rotate too much to scrub off speed. So that's just what I've learned to like. Now, the first kart I ever raced had the engine behind me, so it had a lot of rear weight. We tried to build that kart with as much weight forward as possible, pushing me, the driver, as far forward and adding some weight up to the front. But you didn't want to add too much weight because you are obviously driving a heavy car. The nice thing about iRacing is you don't have to pick that. You essentially are given the weight, especially in this late model situation, or the Rallycross car, just giving another example. You don't get to pick how much weight you have. You're just given the weight and you can put it forward and back. So that is one of the nice things, but I definitely recommend moving it around and figure out what works best for you. You might be a driver who likes 52% cross weight. You might be a driver who likes 51% nose weight. Experiment. Try one thing, try another thing, because really what you're trying to do is find a balance. So like, just for example here, this setup, if I'm looking at nose weight, I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit loose. And then if I go look at cross weight, I'm going to say it's going to be a little bit tight. And those two things kind of cancel each other out. And it's not really linear. So it's not like, let's just look at here and say we're at 1.5% weight to the rear, but 6% extra cross. So we're not like 4.5% tight, but there is kind of a balance, and it's not always linear. So it's best to find out what works best for you. Most oval applications, I really like 49 to 50%. And I'm pretty dead set on that. And then I usually will adjust the nose weight to affect how I feel. So if I'm at, let's just say I'm at 50%. the car feels a little too tight. I'm going to bump it down to 49% cross weight. It still feels a little too tight, but it feels better. Well, I don't really want to go too much below that, just personal preference. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the nose weight to adjust. So let's just say we were 51% nose weight, 49% cross, but it still feels too tight. I could either A, lower the cross, or I can move that weight backwards. And it really is a preference. So I definitely recommend it, but there is some connection between your cross weight and your nose weight and what you feel comfortable with. Now, when I was doing Auto Club, setups for Auto Club in the B Open car, I felt very, very happy with my setup. I took Justin's baseline set, and he was running about 54% cross, I believe, or he was a little off of what I liked. Now, what I did is I just adjusted the perch offsets to get the weight where I wanted it, and I didn't change the springs. I just moved the weight around via the perches. So, in this, I always have to just experiment with this. What I'll essentially do is I'll look at, let's just say we're going to adjust the right front perch. I'll go down, let's just say, boom, boom. Yeah, so I go down 2 clicks, cross goes down. So by raising that cross is going down. But I also want to like worry about the splitter height. So there's more to worry about than just that. But typically, if I want to make a quick adjustment, I'll just pick one corner, adjust it, see how it feels. And then at that point, if it feels better, but maybe it's a little bit slower, I have to adjust elsewhere. And I feel like I'm getting a little off topic here. Let me reel it back in a little bit. You definitely want to just figure out what works best for you as a driver. Experiment. Maybe you like a lot of rear weight. Maybe you like really low cross weight. Like finding what works best for you or where you're comfortable, whether it's a placebo effect, like whether it's just better, you're going to find that. And you're going to be a better driver as you figure that out. But yeah, no, so that's going to be kind of the basics of cross weight and nose weight in an oval application. You're going to, like I said, you're going to want to find what works best for you. Higher the cross weight, the tighter the car. Higher the nose weight, the tighter the car. And it's just about finding that balance. Now, left side weight, and this is going to be primarily dirt oval stuff, like the sprint car. That is just weight that hasn't fully transferred over yet. In the non-wing sprint car, I literally built that setup to have as much left side weight as I could. I lowered the left side, raised the right side, and just poured all that weight over to the left side. Because especially the non-wing sprint car, when you're going into the corner and you're pitching it sideways, all of that weight on the left is trying to fling over to the right. So the more I could keep on the left, the more that stays on the left as it's going around the corner. So typically, the greater the weight on any corner is where there is more grip. So left side weight is not as important to most people. That's a very specific subset. But every car has nose weight and cross weight. Now, times when you want to mess with cross weight on a road application, it is very rare, but tracks like Lime Rock. So my M2 setup for Lime Rock has a handful of corners. Most of them are turning right. Turn 1, you're right. Turn 2, you're turning right. Turn 3, you're turning left. But then it's right, go over the hill, right. It's almost all right-hand corners. So in that application, I actually went with a higher cross weight in the M2. It's going to make the car tighter in the few left hands there are, but it's going to free it up for the right-handers. So I was running, I believe, like 51.5% on the M2 at Lime Rock, and the car felt great through the entire race. If you watch my video, I never really burned the tires up, or I don't burn the tires up as much as others. Now, like I said, I am overworking it when I am turning those few left-hand corners, but there are so few of them. You're talking 80% of the turns were right-handers, so we're going to go positive on the cross, helping right-hand turns. And that is one of the things I'm very picky about. A lot of road guys think the setup has to be symmetrical all the way around. And I'm not a believer in that. If you're going to have 70% left-hand turns, you kind of want to favor left-hand turns just a little bit. But that's just a personal preference. Not everyone agrees to that mindset, but that's just something like I've learned, I have adapted to, and it helps my driving style. And that's just something for you to find out on your own. But I definitely recommend taking the time, tweaking the setups, and finding out what works best for you. There are other ways to tighten and loosen the car up. We'll kind of, if this comes out okay and this video has any kind of success, I'll definitely follow up on that. Using the Rallycross car as an example, for Daytona, I put a lot of weight on the nose because I wanted the car to be really tight, especially after the jump at Daytona. You have the left, right, right. It's kind of like a little chicane, then a right, all in dirt. And I wanted the car to be as planted through there as possible. So I did put a lot of weight on the nose, but that's going to make the car really tight. So what I did to offset that is I actually took clutch plates off of the front differential, meaning I would have more rotation on throttle to kind of help offset how tight the car was. So I could kind of really attack the corner the car was planted, but then when I got on the gas, it didn't like just plow tight because of the differential. Now, I probably was putting less power down, so as the race went on and the track wore, I actually lost a little speed, but it felt better for me overall. Again, sticking on the Rallycross, that's what I've been doing a lot lately. When I went to Atlanta, I actually took some weight and moved it back, less on the nose to loosen the car up, so I could really, I really needed it to kind of fling around in certain spots. So you have the kind of first S's in the tight turn. That wasn't too bad, but when I got to the hairpin at Atlanta, I was trying to do it with no e-brake. So I softened the front bars up to get more roll, the roll bars, but I put the weight back so it would really kind of grip and turn and fling the back end around. Now, as the week went on, I actually adapted to using the e-brake, and I made some setup adjustments to kind of counteract that. But I left the weight back. I adjusted just the differential and the sway bars to offset it. And that's one thing you'll learn while building setups or working on setups. It's not a one-size-fits-all. There's no right answer. There are wrong answers. There definitely are wrong answers. But there's really no right answer. It's about finding what works best for you as the driver. Again, like, I like certain things because of my history with karting and just what I think or believe works. So what I typically do is I kind of get myself in that box that I'm happy with, and then I adjust certain things to make it work. So hopefully this is helpful. I feel like I ranted on a little bit. I don't know how else to do this video. And trying to script it is tough because ideas will come to me, then I have to go back, edit, adjust the script. But realistically, your nose, cross, and left side weight are your key pillars of what you're going to build the setup off of. That's your static weight. Now, moving forward, I'm going to say springs will probably be the next thing I would want to talk about. Springs, roll bars, because that's going to affect your dynamic weight. What's the weight doing while you're driving? There are things like stagger and differential, which I consider those to be about the same. They work very similar. So if you're comfortable doing dirt setups, but you're not comfortable doing road setups, think of differentials like stagger. But that's for another time. But yeah, no, I would say start by messing with your weights. Figure out what you like. What do you like your nose weight? What do you like your cross weight? If you're doing dirt oval, how much left side weight do you like? And kind of evolve it from there. As you practice, you're going to become better because you're going to feel it. If you're able to, let's just say, go from a 50% cross weight to a 49.2 cross weight, and you can feel that difference, that's going to be helpful. You're going to be a better driver. It might not be quicker. You might need to be at 51% cross weight, depending on what the rear and the nose weight is. But making those adjustments is where you're going to become a better driver. So I truly wholeheartedly stand behind open racing is the best racing on iRacing. It's the best use of your time. And I know there's a lot of people out there, and I fall into this category. I don't have a lot of free time. So hopefully this video helps you guys work on setups, tweak setups, and just feel more comfortable. And depending on how well this goes or how well this comes out when I watch it back, I could do a kind of a series of these. But yeah, no, thank you for watching. If this goes live, if you enjoyed it, comment. Let me know what you liked about it, what you agree or disagree with me on. Yeah, you know all the jazz. Just help me make it on YouTube so I could not work so much. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and hopefully this is helpful.